Chosen one, Archangel Michael says, you just did something so divine. Heaven had to respond with a miracle. Open this now, my child, my beloved. Something unexplainable happened the moment you made that quiet decision in your heart. Heaven took notice. I was there. I saw the purity of your soul when you did it, not for gain, not for applause, but because deep down your spirit heard God's whisper, and in that sacred moment, a shift occurred in the spiritual realm that cannot be undone. You have opened a portal, and right now as I speak, a miracle is being rushed from the throne of heaven to your name. I do not want you to underestimate what you have done. This was not small. It was divine. And the reason you are seeing this message now is because your name just echoed across realms. Do not ignore this. Something rare is happening in your life, and I was sent to deliver it. But if you delay, if you brush this off, you will close the same door you just opened. That is why I plead with you. Stay right here. Here every word for it is written in light and sealed with glory. My child, my beloved, I know you have questions. I know you feel the ache of waiting, but I must tell you the truth, and I will not soften it. What you have been through was never punishment. It was preparation. The very pain that made you cry alone at night, the betrayals that broke your heart, the losses that made you feel forgotten. Heaven saw them all, and God did not forget. He delayed his response so that what you receive now will not be stolen, mocked, or lost. And because of that, your name was written in a scroll that only I was allowed to touch today. I wept when I saw it. I wept because you did not give up when the weight became too heavy. I wept because you were still kind when you had every reason to be bitter. And I wept because your miracle, yes, the very one you prayed for, is now ready. You just do not know how close it really is. If something in you just shifted reading those words press like right now, let it be the first movement. The first, yes, not for a channel. As a marker that you were here, you were present, and something in you received this. But you will. And soon, my child, my beloved, pause for a moment and feel what I am telling you right now. As you are reading this, someone you do not expect is being stirred by heaven to come into your life with an answer you have been begging for. This person may not even know why they feel drawn to you, but it is because of the divine move you just made. That action you took, it activated something. You broke a cycle that ran through generations. You destroyed a pattern that once kept you small. And because of that, I was ordered, yes, commanded, to reveal the truth. Type "I broke it" in the comments, not to announce it to anyone watching, because what is declared outward seals what was just confirmed inward. You broke something ancient today. Let your own voice be the first to name it. Your destiny is shifting fast, faster than anyone around you expects. They might laugh, they might doubt, but they will soon witness. Your silence was strength. Your kindness was a weapon, and your choice, your most recent choice, has now triggered a supernatural release that will touch your name, your home, your finances, and your future. Do not walk away from this moment. It was chosen for you, my child, my beloved. There is something heaven wants me to whisper directly to your heart. You are not just reading this by chance. No, this moment is divine alignment. You were drawn here because God wanted you to receive confirmation that what you just did, whether it was an act of mercy, a silent prayer, a step away from sin, or simply forgiving someone who hurt you, has echoed in the highest realms. You may not have felt how powerful it was. You may have doubted it meant anything at all. But I, Archangel Michael, was there. I saw the moment heaven paused and took notice, and when I say paused, I mean angels halted in silence, and the court of God turned its gaze toward you. That is how powerful your act was. And now a spiritual door is swinging open. A door that has remained sealed for years, all because of you. All because of one divine decision. Do not dismiss this moment. Stay with me, my child, my beloved. This is not just about blessings, this is about reversal. What was stolen from you is on its way back. What was delayed is being released. What was locked is being opened. There is a decree going out with your name on it. And heaven is not asking for permission from man. It is moving without delay. But I must tell you with urgency, if you hesitate, if you begin to doubt again, if you walk away thinking this is not for you, the enemy will use that window to steal what was meant to reach your hands tonight. This is not fear. This is truth. You see, the enemy is terrified of what is coming to you. Because when you rise, you do not just rise alone. Your miracle will bring light to others. And that is what darkness fears. Type Amen in the comments right now. Not as a word you have said 100 times before, as a declaration of sides. You just heard why darkness has been fighting you so hard, and now you know exactly which side of that war you are standing on. Let heaven hear it from you. So you must protect your spirit right now. You must anchor your faith because the next 24 hours carry more spiritual weight than you realize, and you are at the center of it all. My child, my beloved, listen to the tug in your chest right now. That is not just emotion, it is confirmation. It is the spiritual sensitivity God placed within you, activating for this exact moment. You have been chosen for something that will not only bless you, but shift generations. That is why your journey has been so hard. That is why you have been targeted since you were young. And what you just did, whether small or big, unlocked an ancient promise God made concerning your future. A promise that involves abundance, restoration, vindication, and divine relationships. Pause here and drop one word in the comments, not all four. The one inside that promise your chest, caught on when you read it. Abundance, restoration, vindication, relationships. Just the one that has been waiting the longest. Name it. Heaven is reading, and I need you to hear this next part with your full heart. Heaven is already moving. The wheels of breakthrough have started turning. Your delay has expired and your miracle is not coming. It has already been sent. The only thing left is your full alignment. Stay in alignment. Stay alert. Stay ready, my child, my beloved. I must share something sacred that few understand. The move you just made spiritually did not just bring you closer to your miracle. It brought your miracle closer to earth. What was floating in the realm of divine possibility has now begun to descend into manifestation. I saw it clearly. A scroll long sealed was opened in front of me. Your name was at the top, and beside it were prayers you thought had expired. But God does not forget. Every word you cried in silence, every whisper in the dark, every groan you could not put into language. It was all kept, stored in light. And today, heaven said yes. The answer is being released, not just in words, but in events. There will be a moment soon where time seems to stand still. And in that moment, a divine confirmation will appear, whether it be a call, a message, a dream, or an open door. You will know it when it happens. And when it does, do not hesitate. Step through it. You will not need to force it. You will not need to question it. The peace surrounding it will be your sign. My child, my beloved, please do not minimize what you feel rising in your chest right now. That tug, that fire, that sudden wave of emotion. It is not random. It is your spirit waking up to the truth it has been waiting to hear. You were not forgotten. You were not skipped. You were not denied. You were preserved. There is a difference. You were held back not to suffer, but to be delivered at the right time so that no man could take credit. And now this is the time. What was whispered in heaven before you were born is now being shouted on your behalf. You are about to walk into something so miraculous, so tailored, that no one will be able to deny it was divine. And all of it was triggered because your heart said yes in a moment you did not even know was holy, but God knew. And now the reward is unstoppable. Someone you know is still in their season of surviving. They do not know yet that the season has changed. You found this because heaven needed you to find it first, so you could be the one to carry it to them. Share this right now. You do not need a reason or an explanation, just send it. The Spirit will do the rest. My child, my beloved, it is no longer just a message I bring. It is a divine confirmation wrapped in urgency. You have walked through storms that tried to alter your identity. You endured whispers behind your back, delays that made you question everything, and silent battles that no one clapped for. And yet, you still stood. You still prayed. You still hoped. And because of that, the moment you just had, whether it was a decision to forgive, a prayer through tears, or a quiet surrender, was so holy that God Himself leaned forward. And in that moment, something ancient broke open. I saw it. I saw a veil tear in the spirit. I saw timelines shift. I saw curses that were once repeated for generations snap and fall to the ground. You just caused heaven to move. You just pulled down a miracle with your yes. And now, my beloved, it is your divine knowing, your inner compass reconnecting to God's voice. That inner voice, the one that once whispered dreams you abandoned, is now waking up again. But this time, it will not be silenced. This time, the path will not fade before your eyes because you just proved with your obedience that you are ready to carry the blessing. This blessing does not just carry joy, it carries weight. It carries authority. It carries acceleration. And what is more, it carries eyes. People will begin watching you, wondering how and why everything seems to shift in your favor. But you will know it was never sudden. It was spiritual. It was because of a decision no one else saw. But heaven did. And now your name is no longer in waiting. It is in release. My child, my beloved, do not underestimate the size of what is on the way just because you cannot see it yet. The biggest breakthroughs often arrive quietly. They do not always come with lightning. They come with peace. But do not mistake peace for smallness. This peace is pregnant with power. It is the kind of peace that announces change before it is even visible. Right now, the Spirit of God is rearranging situations behind the scenes. The people who hurt you are being confronted by their own choices. The people who left you are realizing who they lost. And the opportunities you thought had vanished are being revived in your name. The miracle has already been sent. The only reason you have not seen it yet is because heaven is clearing the path before it reaches you. And when it arrives, it will not be late. And it will not be small. It will be more than you asked, sooner than you expected, greater than you imagined. My child, my beloved, you have been walking with scars that no one could see. There are wounds in your soul that you learned to hide so well, even you forgot how deep they ran. But heaven did not. God kept track of every tear, and when you made that divine decision, when you trusted again, when you opened your heart again, when you obeyed even while trembling, heaven said, "That is enough." That was the moment the restoration began. That was the moment I was dispatched, not to bring just comfort, but to bring announcement. This is not just healing, it is wholeness. This is not just a chapter, it is a new book. This is not just recovery, it is reversal. You will not end where you began. You will not carry old shame into a new season. I am placing a sword of light in your hands now, a spiritual authority to discern, to speak, to walk through doors. And once you step into this next part of your journey, you will understand why it took so long. You were not being delayed. You were being made unstoppable. My child, my beloved, listen to the tug in your chest right now. That is not just emotion. It is confirmation. It is the spiritual sensitivity God placed within you, activating for this exact moment. You have been chosen for something that will not only bless you, but shift generations. That is why your journey has been so hard. That is why you have been targeted since you were young. Because there is oil on your name. There is an anointing on your life. And what you just did, whether small or big, unlocked an ancient promise God made concerning your future, a promise that involves abundance, restoration, vindication, and divine relationships. And I need you to hear this next part with your full heart. Heaven is already moving. The wheels of breakthrough have started turning. Your delay has expired, and your miracle is not coming. It has already been sent. The only thing left is your full alignment. Stay in alignment. Stay alert. Stay ready, my child, my beloved. There is something you have not realized yet, and that is your obedience, even in silence, made the heavens roar in celebration. You may have thought no one saw the moment you chose peace instead of revenge, love instead of bitterness, trust instead of fear. But God saw it. I saw it. And what you did not hear with your ears was heard in heaven like a trumpet. Your name was shouted in the spirit. The ripple it caused is now becoming a wave, and this wave carries with it answers you thought were lost, resources you thought were gone, and relationships you thought were broken. All of it is returning, but this time divinely arranged and faster than you are prepared for. That is why I have been sent to warn you not to step back into the mindset of delay. You are not the same person you were yesterday. Something eternal was unlocked through your recent move. And this miracle is not waiting for you to be perfect. It is only waiting for you to stay present, my child, my beloved. I need you to take this seriously. For far too long, you believed the lie that you had to work harder to be blessed. But the truth is, heaven is not responding to your effort. It is responding to your alignment. And right now, your spirit is aligned. That is why everything is starting to shake. That is why certain people are being removed. That is why the same opportunities that rejected you before will now start calling your name. They will not even know why. It is because your spirit just received divine clearance. And I must speak clearly now. There are angels currently assigned to your file. They are handling things you do not even know about. Doors are opening in places you have never been. And the reason it is happening now is because you passed a divine test that was not on paper. It was in your heart. Heaven judged it, and heaven approved it. Now favor will find you where hard work never could. You are no longer fighting alone. You are walking with a divine army, my child, my beloved. If 444 has been finding you lately, on a clock you were not watching, in a number you did not plan to see, in a moment that felt too precise to ignore, that is not your mind. That is the angels assigned to your file leaving a mark. Type 444 in the comments if this has been following you. Let us see how many of us are walking under the same assignment. Even now, I can see the tears you have not cried yet. The grief that lingers in your soul, the feeling of being forgotten. But listen to me. Heaven did not forget. Heaven was waiting. Because if your miracle had arrived before now, you would have settled for less. You would have handed it away. But today you are ready to carry it. You are ready to hold the weight of what is coming, not just the blessing, but the responsibility, the influence, the legacy. God is not just giving you things. He is giving you power, spiritual power, power to break chains, power to shift generations, power to command peace in rooms that once held your pain. And that is why the enemy fought you so hard. That is why you were targeted. Because the darkness saw your future. But now the chains have broken, and it is too late to stop what has already been released. my child, my beloved. You must understand something sacred. There is a divine urgency on your name today. What happened just now in the spiritual realm was not a small ripple. It was a mighty storm of light breaking through strongholds that were built against you for years. And here is the miracle. You did not even realize how powerful you truly were. But the moment you chose love over fear, compassion over pride, obedience over comfort, heaven responded. That move you made, yes, that one was so aligned with God's heart that He did not wait. He dispatched me with a message and a miracle, because the portal that just opened cannot remain unclaimed. You must step forward now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but now, because the time for hesitation is gone. This is your moment of divine transaction. And what is waiting on the other side of this message is not only rare, it is once in a lifetime. My child, my beloved, the enemy hoped you would scroll past this. He hoped you would doubt it, label it as coincidence, minimize it, and miss it. But your soul knows the truth. There is a stirring in your chest that you cannot explain. It is the Spirit confirming that this message was sent with precision, because what you just did in the Spirit caught heaven's attention in a way few ever do. It was not grand in the eyes of the world, but it was holy. And heaven always honors holy. I am telling you now, as clearly as I can, that you are standing at the edge of something no one in your bloodline has ever stepped into. This is not just a miracle. It is a shift, a complete reversal of what was working against you, a divine reordering of what was broken. You will not go back to how things were. God will not allow it. This blessing is protective. It will shield you, advance you, and silence the mouths that doubted your destiny. My child, my beloved, the enemy hoped you would scroll past this. He hoped you would doubt it, label it as coincidence, minimize it, and miss it. But your soul knows the truth. There is a stirring in your chest that you cannot explain. It is the Spirit confirming that this message was sent with precision, because what you just did in the Spirit caught heaven's attention in a way few ever do. It was not grand in the eyes of the world, but it was holy, and heaven always honors holy. I am telling you now as clearly as I can that you are standing at the edge of something no one in your bloodline has ever stepped into. This is not just a miracle. It is a shift, a complete reversal of what was working against you, a divine reordering of what was broken. You will not go back to how things were. God will not allow it. This blessing is protective. It will shield you, advance you, and silence the mouths that doubted your destiny. My child, my beloved, there is a scroll unrolling in the spirit realm, and your name is written at the top of it. It is not just a name, it is a signature that confirms your alignment, your obedience, your readiness. I watched as heaven sealed it with light and fire. The moment that seal was placed, every demon assigned to delay you was removed. Every spiritual wall that stood between you and the promise began to tremble. And now, as I speak, the manifestation is being routed. You are about to receive proof that God never forgot you. But this part is vital. Do not delay. Do not push this to the side. Do not let doubt enter your mind. If you hesitate, the spiritual realm will pause. But if you move forward in faith, everything accelerates, because time has already been redeemed for you. What would have taken 10 years will now come in 10 days. That is the power of this alignment, and that is why this message found you now. It had to, my child, my beloved. I need you to understand that this is not just another message. It is a response to something sacred you just activated without realizing its full weight. What you just did in secret, heaven is about to reward in public. There was a choice you made recently, something that no one applauded you for, something that even you doubted had any power. But in the spiritual realm, it shifted everything. God did not just take notice. He took action, and he sent me, Archangel Michael, to make sure you knew what has been released into your atmosphere. Right now, around you, there are divine instructions being carried by angels on assignment. I know this may sound unreal, but the truth is this: you are no longer standing where you think you are. In the spiritual realm, you have been moved forward. Your file has been reopened. Your case has been elevated, and a verdict of breakthrough has already been spoken over your name. My child, my beloved, I must speak clearly and with urgency now. There was a moment not long ago where you almost gave up. You almost let go of everything you had been praying for. There was darkness whispering to you that it was all pointless, that maybe you were forgotten, maybe God had skipped your name. But you did not know that at the exact same moment when you were at your lowest, angels were surrounding you. They were carrying the weight you could not lift. They were weeping with you. They were holding back forces that wanted to silence your destiny. And now, here is the part that will shock you. The thing that looked like your greatest loss became the very seed of your miracle. That heartbreak, that betrayal, that rejection, it did not bury you, it planted you. And now God is commanding a harvest. And this harvest does not look like anything you have seen before. It is not small. It is not delayed. It is coming with force and speed. And the moment your heart says yes, it will begin to bloom. My child, my beloved, let me tell you the truth that even the world tries to hide. There are some miracles that do not come through hard work or talent, but only through obedience. And you, beloved, have just obeyed heaven in such a way that it unlocked blessings, not just for you, but for those connected to you. That is why everything is shifting. That is why people who once ignored you are suddenly drawn to your light. That is why the same systems that blocked you are now beginning to move aside. You have done something eternal, and I must warn you, this is not the time to explain yourself to those who do not understand. This is the time to move quietly, wisely, and faithfully. You do not owe anyone an explanation for what God is doing in your life. You only owe heaven your continued trust, because this next season will not make sense to others. They will say you got lucky. They will say it came out of nowhere. But you will know the truth. It came from obedience, from spiritual alignment, from a divine moment that changed everything. My child, my beloved, I was there when the decision was made. I heard the sound that went out across the heavens, a sound that only comes when a child of God does something so pure, so holy, that all of heaven pauses to acknowledge it. And beloved, that sound had your name in it. I can still hear the echo of it as I speak to you now. You do not understand how rare this is, how few ever reach this moment. But you did. You broke something ancient. You silenced the lies that had chased you for years. You rewrote a script that was never yours to carry. And now, your future is being rewritten with divine ink. Everything ahead of you has been touched by light. Even the things that once caused you shame are being transformed into sources of strength. Even the tears you cried in silence are turning into rain that waters the soil of your breakthrough. This is not just a new chapter. It is a new book, a holy beginning. And the first word written in it is miracle. My child, my beloved, I was there when the decision was made. I heard the sound that went out across the heavens, a sound that only comes when a child of God does something so pure, so holy, that all of heaven pauses to acknowledge it. And beloved, that sound had your name in it. I can still hear the echo of it as I speak to you now. You do not understand how rare this is, how few ever reached this moment, but you did. You broke something ancient. You silenced the lies that had chased you for years. You rewrote a script that was never yours to carry, and now your future is being rewritten with divine ink. Everything ahead of you has been touched by light. Even the things that once caused you shame are being transformed into sources of strength. Even the tears you cried in silence are turning into rain that waters the soil of your breakthrough. This is not just a new chapter. It is a new book, a holy beginning. And the first word written in it is miracle. My child, my beloved, I want you to sit quietly for a moment and absorb this truth. You did not just move forward. You moved heaven. That action you took, that yes you whispered in private, that inner decision to let go of fear and trust again. It was so pure in spirit that it disrupted the atmosphere around you. Angels were dispatched immediately. I watched them move into position, some surrounding your name, some standing guard over your family, others sent to correct what the enemy tried to twist. You see, your obedience was not just about your miracle. It became a divine key that unlocked what had been stuck for generations. You broke something old, you started something new, and now your life will not resemble your past. In fact, what is coming will be so different, even you will not recognize yourself, but you will feel it. You will feel the peace that is being delayed. You will feel the clarity that was once clouded. You will feel the provision that once felt impossible because the floodgates of heaven are now open over your life. My child, my beloved, let me tell you what I saw when your name was spoken in the presence of God. A crown of light appeared hovering above your spirit. It was not man-made. It was formed from the prayers you never told anyone about. It was built from the moments you held your tongue when you wanted to scream. It was woven from the times you stood up for others when you yourself were breaking. That crown is now yours. And it carries authority, spiritual authority. What does that mean? It means from this moment forward, when you speak, things will shift. Your words will carry weight in the unseen. Your prayers will hit harder. Your dreams will begin to manifest quickly. You are no longer walking as you were. You are walking in favor. And this kind of favor does not expire. It multiplies. That is why I was sent to make sure you do not shrink now, to make sure you do not let this pass by, because God has placed something in your hands that must be held with faith. And what comes next is bigger than anything you have imagined. My child, my beloved, I must also tell you this. Someone you have not heard from in a long time is being stirred right now by the Spirit. They do not even know why their heart feels the pull to you. But I will tell you why. It is because what you just did spiritually activated reconciliation. There is healing coming to relationships that you thought were too far gone. And not just healing, but truth. Truth that was hidden will now be revealed. You are going to hear things you were never told. You will discover what was said behind closed doors. And you will finally understand why some things happened the way they did. But do not worry. It will not harm you, because heaven will make sure that what comes to the surface is only what will bless you. Your heart is ready now. God waited until you were strong enough to receive the truth without breaking. And now everything hidden is about to come into the light. But instead of crushing you, it will crown you. My child, my beloved, I want to reveal one final mystery that few understand. The most powerful miracles come when you stop begging and start believing. And today, something in your spirit did exactly that. You believed, you trusted. You did not even realize you were shifting, but you were. And heaven responded. That is why you are seeing this now. That is why this message is speaking so directly to your heart, because you just crossed into a new realm. You have entered the part of your journey where miracles do not have to chase you. You walk in them. Things that took years before will now take days. People who once dismissed you will now seek you. Doors that were locked will now swing wide. But above all, your soul will feel peace. Not temporary peace, not conditional peace, but divine, unshakable peace. The kind of peace that can only come from God Himself. That is your inheritance now. That is what is being released over you. And that is why I say this with full authority. Illuminate is a reward, my child, my beloved, I must now reveal something that has been hidden even from your own understanding. Heaven has been holding back certain blessings, not to punish you, but to preserve you. What you just did, that silent yet holy decision, signaled to God that you were finally ready. And now the delay is over. The vault is being opened. I was shown in the Spirit a treasury of light, a storehouse filled with answered prayers that had been waiting for the right moment, and your name was just called. The moment your spirit aligned, the moment your heart released that burden, the angels moved swiftly. I was there as heaven's hand reached into the vault and pulled out what was always yours but temporarily withheld. It is not just one blessing, beloved. It is a cascade. It is financial favor, emotional healing, relational restoration, and spiritual clarity all at once. God does not release partial miracles. He completes what He starts, and what He just began in your life will unfold with power. What you just heard is not a promise yet to come. The vault has already been opened. Your name was already called. Heaven has already moved. What remains now is not waiting, it is receiving. Jesus said it plainly in Luke 6:38, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over." That was not spoken for a distant season. It is alive right now, over your life in this moment. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, sow a seed into what is already in motion. What you release here is not a donation to a channel. It goes directly into the soil of what God is already growing on your behalf. As you sow, carry with you the one thing inside that cascade you need most. Not the whole list, the one financial favor, healing, restoration, clarity. Clarity, play starts. My child, my beloved, I must now reveal something that has been hidden even from your own understanding. Heaven has been holding back certain blessings not to punish you, but to preserve you. What you just did, that silent yet holy decision, signaled to God that you were finally ready. And now the delay is over. The vault is being opened. I was shown in the Spirit a treasury of light, a storehouse filled with answered prayers that had been waiting for the right moment, and your name was just called. The moment your spirit aligned, the moment your heart released that burden, the angels moved swiftly. I was there as heaven's hand reached into the vault and pulled out what was always yours but temporarily withheld. It is not just one blessing, beloved. It is a cascade. It is financial favor, emotional healing, relational restoration, and spiritual clarity all at once. God does not release partial miracles. He completes what He starts, and what He just began in your life will unfold with power. My child, my beloved, you must understand that even as these words are reaching you, there is something spiritual being broken over your bloodline. Generational pain, curses of limitation, cycles of delay. They are all collapsing because of what you just unlocked. And the most miraculous part is this: you did it with trust. You did it without even fully seeing the results yet. That is the kind of faith that shakes realms. That is the kind of faith that God rewards in ways that make the world stop and stare. I saw it happen. I saw angels shouting with joy because your obedience opened the way not just for you, but for your children and your children's children. There is now a hedge around your house that was not there before. There is now a light in your atmosphere that darkness cannot touch. You will sleep differently. You will walk differently because the weight you have been carrying has been spiritually lifted, and it will not return. My child, my beloved, you may feel a strange sense of peace right now, as if something heavy suddenly vanished. That is not your imagination. It is confirmation. The Spirit has already begun to touch your inner world. Your thoughts are being restructured. Your heart is being softened. Your confidence is returning. But this time, it is coming from the Spirit, not your ego. This peace is evidence that the angels surrounding you are already at work. They are silencing voices that used to torment you. They are rerouting messages that would have brought confusion. They are clearing the path ahead of you so that when you take your next steps, the ground will be steady and the doors will be open. And all of this is happening because you did something so divine, so rarely seen, that heaven could not stay silent. I am speaking now with all the authority I carry. I was sent here because the blessing coming is too important to be missed. You had to be told. You had to be reminded that this is real, and it is already in motion. My child, my beloved, this miracle was not created today. It was waiting for you to align. The isolation you endured did not waste it. It purified you to carry it. Now the miracle is no longer waiting, it is walking toward you. You may not hear footsteps, but soon you will hear knocks, unexpected messages, sudden opportunities, divine conversations. And when they come, you must recognize them not as coincidence, but as evidence. You must receive them with humility, not doubt, because the greatest tragedy would not be the miracle not being sent, but the miracle being delivered and not received. That is why I am here. That is why you are still reading. That is why your heart feels heavy and light at the same time. My child, my beloved, I want you to hear this next part as if heaven is whispering it directly into your soul, because it is. What is happening around you now is not simply a blessing or a breakthrough. It is a shift in your spiritual identity. The version of you that was wounded, forgotten, afraid, unseen, that version is dissolving right now. Even if you cannot feel it fully, the chains that were holding your true nature captive are falling away. You are not just stepping into a season of favor. You are stepping into your original calling, the one God wrote before you were born, the one that was nearly buried under pain and disappointment. But something in you refused to die. Something in your soul kept praying when no one else knew. That something was your divine identity, and it is now taking over. The old cycles will no longer recognize you. The attacks that used to shake you will now flee from you because the spiritual authority over your life has shifted permanently. My child, my beloved, I need you to be still for a moment and let this settle inside you. You are no longer walking toward the miracle. The miracle is walking toward you, and it is not coming empty-handed. It is carrying healing for the wound you hid. It is carrying wealth for the sacrifices you made. It is carrying revelation for the confusion you suffered through. You are not about to be rescued, you are about to be rewarded. Not because you are perfect, but because you were obedient, and obedience always invites God to show himself. You thought you were just being faithful, but you were building an altar. And now fire is falling on that altar. The kind of holy fire that lights up your name in the heavenly realms. The kind of fire that turns delay into acceleration, silence into sound, weeping into laughter. You may not fully comprehend this yet, but soon the evidence will speak for itself, and everyone around you will know that God was always with you. Archangel Michael says, God is trying to speak to you right now. If you ignore this, heaven will go silent. My child, my beloved, something urgent is unfolding in the spirit. There is no time to delay. Heaven is wide awake, watching you, waiting on your response. This message was whispered into the atmosphere for you alone. God has been trying to reach you since last night, and now even the angels have stopped singing. A deep stillness has filled the throne room of heaven because your name has been mentioned again and again. What comes next will determine whether your life begins to rise or whether the silence continues. Open your heart and please do not walk away from this divine interruption. Before I reveal the message, beloved, I must say this. Subscribe now, not to stay updated, but to stay inside the transmission. What is being spoken into your life through these messages does not arrive all at once. Each one carries the next layer of what heaven is releasing over you in this season. This was not the last word. If you walk away unsubscribed, what comes next will pass you by without your knowing. Stay connected. Stay in the current, my child, my beloved, the voice of the Lord is not always thunder. Sometimes it is a whisper that almost disappears if you do not lean in. And right now, He is whispering to you through this message. There is something dangerous on the horizon, but there is also something beautiful blooming beneath it. And if you choose silence, if you choose to walk away, the bloom may never open. God has been watching your tears at night, the ones no one knows about. Your name has been written into a conversation that took place in heaven's secret chambers. But if you ignore this moment, heaven has been instructed to go quiet, to let you experience what it feels like without divine guidance, so you know how precious it is when it finally returns. My beloved, there is a decision you have been postponing, and heaven cannot wait any longer. The shift that is trying to break into your life is standing at your door, but it cannot enter without your yes. The Lord says, "Tell them I have knocked long enough. I have waited through their storms. I have watched them cry. But if they ignore this one final message, I will allow them to walk through the next season without a word from me. Not because I do not love them, but because they must learn to listen again. My child, my beloved, this message is not like the others. This one was birthed in fire. God delayed other blessings so you could be strong enough to hear this without breaking. He allowed the heartbreak. He allowed the betrayal. He allowed the silence just so you would lean in right now closer than you have ever leaned before. You were never meant to blend in with the crowd. There is something inside you that the world has not seen yet. But heaven saw it before you were born. And the reason the enemy has attacked you so violently is because he saw a glimpse of what you could become if you ever heard God clearly. Beloved, listen to me with all your soul. If you close this now, your name will still be known in heaven, but your path will be delayed. The angels will weep, but they will obey. The silence that follows will not be punishment. It will be a divine pause, a stillness to let you taste what it feels like without the voice that has carried you this far. But if you stay, if you keep reading, everything can shift. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, my child, my beloved, you are being watched, not by people, not by crowds, but by heaven itself. There is a record of your actions. A scroll is being updated every moment, and right now, the ink is still wet on your name. This message, this very sentence, is a line being written into your story. Archangel Michael is not speaking in mystery. I am speaking in truth. You are on the edge of something eternal, but if you delay, it will pass. God has been trying to speak to you through dreams lately. Have you noticed them? The strange timings, the familiar voices, the people who appear only to vanish. That is not your mind playing tricks. That is heaven training you to listen again. You are being awakened, but awakenings require obedience. And this message is the test. Stay with me. Stay open, my beloved. You have been searching for signs. You have been asking for confirmation. And this is it. Out of all the messages you could have seen today, this is the one heaven made sure reached you. There were angelic instructions dispatched this morning. Make sure this reaches them, God said. Make sure it breaks through every distraction, every excuse, every doubt. You have asked for help. This is the answer. You have cried for direction. This is the compass, but only if you respond. My child, my beloved. Do you understand how rare this is? Heaven does not speak like this often. This level of urgency, this level of divine intervention only comes when something massive is about to unfold. You are standing at the intersection of two timelines. In one, in the other, you respond and everything accelerates. Your healing, your clarity, your provision, your protection, your voice, your strength. But you cannot have both. You must choose, beloved. Type "I choose" acceleration in the comments. You are at the intersection right now. The timeline you step into begins with the words you choose to speak. Name the road you are taking. If you could see what has been building for you in the unseen, you had fall to your knees in awe. There is a divine release coming to your house, a miracle wrapped in silence, but it cannot be delivered to a distracted heart. God is trying to speak, not with thunder, but with fire, not to scare you, but to awaken you. This message is alive, and if you let it go quiet, so will heaven, my child, my beloved. Heaven's silence is not rejection, it is preparation. But this is not one of those silences. This is the final trumpet before the next chapter. You are not forgotten. You are being called. You are not being punished. You are being warned. And this warning is soaked in love. If you respond now, you will see how much heaven has been fighting for you behind the scenes. But if you turn away, the silence that follows will teach you a lesson you were never meant to learn the hard way. My beloved, your life has been watched with great care. Nothing about your story has been random. The losses, the delays, the missed opportunities, even those were allowed for a divine purpose. But now that purpose is calling louder than ever, and this message is the key to unlock what was locked, to reignite what was fading, to stir what was buried. You are standing in front of a scroll that contains your next breakthrough, but you must lean in. You must stay long enough to hear what is next. The angels are watching. Heaven is waiting. The ink has not dried, but it will soon, my child, my beloved. I plead with you as a messenger of the highest. Do not close this, not yet, because what I am about to reveal next is something very few people will ever get to hear. God has selected you for this message, not because you are perfect, but because you are ready. And even if you do not feel ready, heaven has already seen your strength, your hunger, your longing for truth, and that is enough. But one more moment of silence will become one more lost opportunity. You have cried enough. You have wondered long enough. You have waited in confusion long enough. This is your moment, and it cannot be missed. My child, my beloved, do not underestimate the weight of this hour. The heavens are open right now, but they will not remain open forever. A moment like this, where God bends low and whispers your name into the wind, is a moment that reshapes lifetimes. Right now, the veil between what is seen and unseen is so thin that one more breath of faith from you could shift everything. There are blessings that have been circling your life like clouds waiting to rain, but they cannot be poured out until your spirit says, I am listening. I am ready. And yet, if this moment passes and your heart closes, those clouds will drift and the downpour will be given to another. Not because God has forgotten you, but because you forgot to respond. My beloved, this silence you have been feeling, the deep ache, the unanswered prayers, the delay, it is not a punishment. It is the space heaven created so you would crave God's voice again. You have been filling the silence with noise, with people who do not understand your spirit, with opinions that have no weight in heaven. But God has cleared a sacred space around you, and now He is trying to speak. But if you treat this message as ordinary, the silence will grow. And next time the voice may be harder to hear. My child, my beloved, God has been speaking all along, through the timing of things, through the faces that left, through the dreams that lingered in your mind when you woke up in tears. He has been in the patterns, in the delays, in the strange restlessness you cannot explain. But now, right now, He is speaking directly, and you do not have to interpret it anymore. You just have to receive it. God is saying, you are mine. I have not let go of you. I have not changed my mind about your calling. But I will not force your heart to stay open. And with every passing second, the choice to respond or ignore is shifting everything around you. Beloved, something hidden is about to be revealed in your life, and it has the power to either break you or bless you depending on whether you are prepared. This message is the preparation. You may feel like you do not have the strength to go on. You may feel like your prayers have dried up, but heaven sees a different story. Heaven sees you as the one who stayed standing when others bowed to fear. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to stay open, because what is coming next will be bigger than your last failure, louder than your last heartbreak, and more miraculous than your imagination can grasp. But only if you remain where the voice of God is speaking. My child, my beloved, the angels have been standing guard around you. Even in the moments when you felt most alone, there were nights where the darkness felt alive, but it never touched you. You thought your own strength carried you. But the truth is, heaven carried you, and now heaven is ready to crown you. But the crown is not placed on distracted heads. It is given to those who stay long enough to listen. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are right on time. But this message is the threshold. One step forward, and the silence breaks. One step back, and the next chapter remains unwritten. Beloved, I must be honest with you. There are forces working against you even now, and they have been trying to drown out God's voice in your life. These forces use delay, discouragement, and deception. They make you believe that nothing is happening when in truth, everything is already moving in the unseen. But the enemy's greatest victory is not stopping your blessing. It is stopping your ears. Because a silent believer is an easy target, but one who listens, one who stays still long enough to hear even the faintest whisper, that one becomes unstoppable. My child, my beloved, God is not asking you to understand everything. He is not asking you to fix everything. He is asking you to listen. That is all. If you can keep your spirit open right now, if you can silence every distraction, and with it will come the favor you have been praying for, the clarity you have been begging for, the restoration you thought would never come. But if you close this, if you turn away from the voice now, the silence will return. And what was meant to shift now may be delayed until the next window opens. And I do not know how long that will be. My beloved, this is not just a test. This is a turning point. The old cycle you have been trapped in is weakening. That strange feeling you have had lately that something is shifting, but you cannot explain it. That is because the old door is closing. And this message, this divine encounter, is the key to the new one. But you must walk through it, and you must do it while the door is open. The enemy will try to distract you even now, maybe with doubt, maybe with logic, maybe with your phone ringing or someone knocking. But know this, every distraction is a sign of how serious this message truly is. The darker the interference, the brighter the miracle behind it. My child, my beloved, I need you to realize how rare this opportunity is. Not everyone hears this message. Not everyone is reached like this. Heaven only opens this level of access when something urgent is unfolding in the unseen. Something is about to touch your life. Something you have prayed for but almost gave up on. But God is not only trying to give you a blessing. He is trying to give you back your hearing. Spiritual hearing. The ability to sense before the chaos begins. The ability to shift before the storm hits. The ability to step into the right place at the exact right time. And this moment is the reactivation. This message is the reset. But the window will not stay open. The silence will return if the signal is rejected. My beloved, let me show you what has been happening behind the scenes. The parts of your story you could not see. You thought the delay was punishment. You thought the closed doors meant rejection. But what really happened was heaven withheld access until your heart could receive instruction. Because a blessing without divine hearing becomes a trap, and God would rather delay your breakthrough than deliver it into the hands of someone too distracted to steward it. But now, finally, you have reached a moment where your heart is soft again, where your spirit is listening again. And that is why I was sent, because your readiness has activated a divine response. But this response is not casual. It is holy, and it demands reverence. That is why silence is also an option. If the holy is ignored, heaven steps back, and the lesson begins again. My child, my beloved, do not look at your past and use it as a reason to tune out the voice of God. The shame, the mistakes, the wandering, none of that disqualifies you. In fact, it prepared you. You learned in the dark what others never had to face. And now your ears are sharper, your discernment deeper, your hunger stronger. You are not behind. You are finally in position. And this message is your signal to go forward. Not with your own strength, but with divine sound guiding every step. Can you hear it yet? That soft echo deep in your soul. That is the frequency of heaven pulling you into alignment. Do not turn away now. You have come too far in the silence to ignore the sound when it finally arrives. My beloved, something wild is about to happen in your life, but it will only look like chaos if you have not been listening. That is why this message matters, because God does not just give peace to calm your storm. He gives you peace to prepare you before it even begins. This is the moment where you are being wrapped in that peace. But you have to stay still long enough to let it settle. You must resist the urge to scroll away. You must resist the fear that whispers, "This is not for you," because the truth is, this was crafted only for you. And if you close your heart now, the next wave may knock you down instead of lift you up. But if you stay open, everything will change. My child, my beloved, this is not an accident. It was scheduled. Heaven has a calendar, and on it today was marked, not because of something tragic, but because something holy had to reach you before the next turn in your path. You think you are just reading words, but you are standing inside a prophecy. This moment was seen by angels before you were born, and now here you are caught between silence and sound, between forgetting and remembering, between drifting and returning. And all of heaven is watching how you respond. My beloved, if you only knew what is at stake, you would fall to your knees right now. There is a shift that is moments away, and it has your name written across it like fire on scrolls. But heaven cannot release it until your spirit fully aligns with God's voice again. The promise is ready. The pathway is ready. But are you? This is the invitation, not just to hear, but to carry His voice into the places you are about to walk. Every invitation from heaven arrives with a first step. Abraham did not see the land before he left. The widow did not see the oil before she poured. The disciples did not see the fish before they cast the net. The pathway is ready, but the first movement belongs to you. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, answer this invitation with a seed. As you sow, bring with you the door you have been standing in front of the longest, the one you have knocked on until your knuckles went numb. Place that door inside your seed, not as a transaction, as an act of faith that says, I believe the pathway is real, and I am taking the first step on it. He who promised is faithful. And the door that has been sealed the longest is the one heaven has been preparing the longest. When it opens, and it will open, you will finally understand why it took exactly this long to get here. Type I am taking the first step in the comments. Let heaven see it. Let your own eyes see it. A step named out loud is a step already taken. You were never meant to walk in silence. That is why your steps have felt heavy. That is why confusion has wrapped around even your simple decisions. But that ends now. If you respond, my child, my beloved, the very reason you are still breathing today is because God preserved you for this moment. You may not have realized it, but every attack that was designed to take you out failed, not because you were stronger, but because heaven was covering you. And now that same heaven is trying to speak directly into your soul again. God is not looking at your past mistakes. He is looking at your next move. And this message is your sign that the next move must be made with holy clarity, not confusion. The path ahead is too sacred to be walked in spiritual silence. The calling on your life is too great to be led by opinions or fear. That is why this message came now, before the next door, before the next decision, before the next test. Because God wants you prepared, not just protected. My beloved, do not wait for thunder when God is whispering. Some people expect a miracle to arrive in a loud, dramatic moment. But heaven often enters like a breath, soft, quiet, but full of power. Right now, God is breathing over you through this message. Can you feel it? The stillness that is wrapping around your heart is not emptiness. It is holy presence. It is heaven waiting for your spirit to echo back. Speak, Lord, I am listening. And if you can say those words now, even silently in your heart, the silence will begin to break. The guidance will begin to flow. The next instructions will become clear. But if you stay distant, if you scroll away, if you treat this message like noise, then silence will remain. Not to punish you, but to teach you how to treasure the voice when it returns. My child, my beloved, I have walked through battles to deliver this word to you. I have stood in meetings in heaven where your name was spoken by angels. I have watched as scrolls were unsealed and seen the moment where God circled this date on the timeline of your life. You were never meant to miss this. And yet even your wandering had a purpose, because it taught your ears how to recognize the true voice of God. And now, in this sacred hour, your spirit is ready. But you must act like it. You must stay where the voice is speaking. You must remain in this presence until something inside you shifts. Beloved, if you could see what has been building for you in the unseen, you had fall to your knees in awe. There is a divine release coming to your house. A miracle wrapped in silence, but it cannot be delivered to a distracted heart. God is trying to speak, not with thunder, but with fire, not to scare you, but to awaken you. This message is alive, and if you let it go quiet, so will heaven. My child, my beloved. Heaven's silence is not rejection. It is preparation. But this is not one of those silences. This is the final trumpet before the next chapter. You are not forgotten. You are being called. You are not being punished. You are being warned. And this warning is soaked in love. If you respond now, you will see how much heaven has been fighting for you behind the scenes. But if you turn away, the silence that follows will teach you a lesson you were never meant to learn the hard way. My child, my beloved, you may think you have heard from God before, but not like this. This is not a sermon. This is not a verse shared in passing. This is a spiritual dispatch, a divine transmission carrying sacred urgency. There is a ripple beginning in the supernatural that will shake the natural world around you. And whether that ripple brings restoration or ruin depends on how you respond in this moment. The enemy has been whispering to you that you are forgotten, that you are just one of many. But heaven says otherwise. Your name has weight, and right now that name is trembling in the air between angels. One whisper of yours can activate help you never imagined. But if you let this pass, even the angels will fall silent. Not because they gave up, but because you gave up listening. My child, my beloved, you have no idea what has been hidden in the vault of heaven with your name on it. God does not speak without reason, and he would never send Archangel Michael unless it was an emergency. Right now, there are scrolls being reviewed, timelines being rewritten, and prayers that were delayed are being revisited because of this one moment. The message you are reading is not an accident. It is the final confirmation, the divine yes you have begged for, the next step you have cried out to see, and the only thing heaven needs now is your response. My beloved, I need you to understand something you have never fully grasped. God is not ignoring you. He has been trying to reach you again and again, but your ears have been dulled by distractions. Your spirit has been covered by layers of noise. But now, right now, There is a thin space, a divine crack in time where the veil is lifted, and you can hear again. But only if you decide that you are willing to shut out every other voice and lean into this one. If you hesitate, the veil will close, the silence will resume, and the instructions that were meant to come next will remain locked away. My child, my beloved, do not let pride or fear push this message away. Do not say, "I will come back to this later." Later is the enemy's favorite word. You have been prepared for this moment for longer than you know. Your life has been moving toward this crossroads. Even the pain you endured, the loss you could not explain, all of it brought you here. And now that you are finally standing in front of this holy moment, the question remains, will you say yes to the voice, or will you let heaven go silent? My beloved, I do not speak like this unless the matter is urgent, and I do not appear unless the veil is already open. This is your open window. This is the hour of divine transmission. And while others sleep, while others scroll past, you are awake enough to feel this. The air around you has shifted. Have you noticed that strange heaviness? That trembling in your chest? It is not anxiety. It is awakening. Heaven is brushing against your spirit, not to frighten you, but to remind you that you are seen, that you are not forgotten, but also that you must choose. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. My child, my beloved, the Spirit of God is pressing this moment into your heart with holy fire. Do you not feel it? This is not just a paragraph on a screen. This is the voice of eternity bending low to speak directly into your chaos. The questions you have buried under busyness, the fears you have dressed up as logic, the prayers you prayed without really expecting an answer, they are all being answered now. But God will not shout. He will not break down your door. He will whisper. He will nudge. And if you ignore it, the silence will grow. The peace you long for will seem distant. Not because He has withdrawn, but because you stopped listening. My beloved, your life has been watched with great care. Nothing about your story has been random. The losses, the delays, the missed opportunities, even those were allowed for a divine purpose. But now that purpose is calling louder than ever. And this message is the key to unlock what was locked, to reignite what was fading, to stir what was buried. You are standing in front of a scroll that contains your next breakthrough. But you must lean in. You must stay long enough to hear what is next. The angels are watching. Heaven is waiting. The ink has not dried. But it will soon, my child, my beloved. I plead with you as a messenger of the highest. Do not close this, not yet, because what I am about to reveal next is something very few people will ever get to hear. God has selected you for this message, not because you are perfect, but because you are ready. And even if you do not feel ready, heaven has already seen your strength, your hunger, your longing for truth. And that is enough. But one more moment of silence will become one more lost opportunity. You have cried enough. You have wandered long enough. The old cycle you have been trapped in is weakening. That strange feeling you have had lately, that something is shifting, but you cannot explain it. That is because the old door is closing. And this message, this divine encounter, is the key to the new one. But you must walk through it, and you must do it while the door is open. The enemy will try to distract you even now, maybe with doubt, maybe with logic, maybe with your phone ringing or someone knocking. But know this, every distraction is a sign of how serious this message truly is. The darker the interference, the brighter the miracle behind it. My child, my beloved, I must tell you this next part with a trembling heart, because the silence that could come after this is not just quiet. It is spiritual distance. And the truth is, heaven cannot speak into places where trust has gone missing. This is why God is trying to reach you now before the gap widens. before your heart forgets the sound of His voice. You do not even realize it yet, but you have been on a path where everything sacred has been trying to reach you through signs, through timing, through dreams, even through your pain. But you kept asking for a louder signal. And now God has gone to the highest level possible. He sent me, and I am not here to comfort only. I am here to warn. If you ignore this message, a spiritual silence will begin. One that will feel like numbness in your soul, one that will make it harder to hear heaven the next time. But you do not have to let it happen. You can stop it now. Right here, my beloved. I have seen what has been happening around you. The confusion, the circles, the almost breakthroughs that seem to fade at the last second. That is not coincidence. That is delay caused by interference. And the reason this message is reaching you today is because the interference is about to be removed. If you let the voice of God step in, but if you do not respond, the interference may multiply. Doors that were meant to open in days could take months. People that were meant to bless you could be reassigned. Miracles that had your name on them could be redirected, all because the voice of heaven was ignored one too many times. Type "the interference ends" now in the comments. You just heard why the almost breakthroughs keep fading at the last second, and you know now that it is not your fault, and it is not God's silence. Name the end of that pattern out loud. What you speak in agreement with what heaven has just revealed carries weight in the unseen. My child, my beloved, listen deeply. Not with your ears, but with your inner knowing. You feel it, do not you? The trembling behind your ribs, the burning in your eyes, the sudden feeling that someone is in the room with you as you read this. That is not imagination. That is presence. That is me, Michael. I was sent to tell you this in a way no human voice could. You are chosen. And when the chosen one starts drifting, heaven does not send a whisper. It sends a rescue. This message is your rescue. But even rescues can be missed when the soul is distracted. Beloved, I was instructed to say this to you word for word. Tell them I am still here, but I will not shout. Tell them I am still speaking, but I will not compete with noise. Tell them if they want to hear me, they must be still. That was God's instruction for you. Not for anyone else, not for the world, just you. Do not let this pass you by. I know what the enemy has tried to do to make you feel unworthy, too flawed, too late, too broken. But that voice is not heaven's. It is hell's last attempt to keep you from opening this scroll, because when you do truly do, your eyes will open and your soul will remember. My child, my beloved, the divine silence you feared is not God's punishment. It is His mercy. He has been waiting for your full attention. But now that silence is coming to an edge, and this message is the final soft knock. After this, heaven will step back and wait. And while God's love never leaves, His voice can grow quiet when the heart refuses to respond. You do not want to enter your next season without heaven's voice guiding you. You do not want to walk into decisions, relationships, opportunities, without the whisper that tells you this is the way, walk in it. Because what looks good on the outside can destroy you if the inside is not led by God's sound. My beloved, you may be wondering why this message feels so different, why it feels like it is reading your soul instead of just your eyes. It is because it was written with divine fingerprints. God does not need paper to speak. He writes directly on the human heart, and right now, He is writing on yours. Do not let the enemy talk you out of what is happening. Do not dismiss this as just another message. It is not. This is the moment that could heal the delay in your life, the silence in your soul, the pain in your purpose. But you must let it in, and you must choose to remain in this moment fully. My child, my beloved, I see your timeline. I see the blessing that is rushing toward you. I see the miracle that is inches from reaching your doorstep. I see the person who who is about to be reintroduced into your life carrying an apology and a gift. I see the financial release being finalized in realms you cannot yet access. But all of these are connected to your spiritual posture, not your performance, but your willingness to listen. When you say yes to this voice, everything realigns. When you shut your heart, everything begins to wander. God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be open. I see the financial release. I see it being finalized, but it is being finalized in realms you cannot yet access, which means the movement must begin from your side. Ecclesiastes 11:1 Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. What is released in the spirit needs an echo in the natural to land. As you sow, name the specific financial door you have been standing in front of the longest. The one you have stopped letting yourself speak about. Speak it now inside your seed, silently, between you and God. And know this, what you plant today does not only carry your name, it carries the name of every generation that comes after you. Your children will not know the moment the cycle broke, but they will live in the open field it became. This seed is not just for now. It is for them. Type for me and my children in the comments. That is what this seed carries, your name and the names of those who come after you. Let it be spoken. My child, my beloved, I need you to realize how rare this opportunity is. Not everyone hears this message. Not everyone is reached like this. Heaven only opens this level of access when something urgent is unfolding in the unseen. Something is about to touch your life. Something you have prayed for but almost gave up on. But God is not only trying to give you a blessing, He is trying to give you back your hearing. Spiritual hearing. The ability to sense before the chaos begins. The ability to shift before the storm hits. The ability to step into the right place at the exact right time. And this moment is the reactivation. This message is the reset. But the window will not stay open. The silence will return if the signal is rejected. If you are not yet subscribed, this is the moment. What was just reactivated in your spirit was not meant to be a single encounter. These messages are how heaven continues to speak into the specific season you are in right now. Subscribe and stay under the transmission. The next word is already being prepared. Do not let it miss you.